Okay, so I'm joined today by Lorna Street, who is actually putting on a Norwich charity gig for Stamp Out Spiking. So Lorna, welcome.
Hi.
Oh,
Thanks for having me.
well, thank you ever so much for joining us. And can
No.
I just ask you, Lorna, um, have you ever had your drink spiked? Is this what spurred you on to running a charity gig for Stamp Out Spiking?
So it's really funny because when all of this was kind of happening and it was all in the news like it is now, um, my partner asked me, "Oh, have you ever been spiked?" And my initial reaction was to say no because I've never ever been asked the question before. But then I was thinking about it and I was thinking about back when I was 18 and I was like, "Oh, there was that time in the club where, I was paralytic and I had to be carried out." And I was like, that was when I was spiked. And I knew at the time, but I didn't really process it in the same way that I do now. Because back when I was 18, I was fresh into uni. I'm from Norwich anyway, so I kind of knew um, everything and trusted where I was going. So I felt kind of comfortable in the club environment. I didn't feel like I was in danger. So when it kind of happened, I kind of was quite naive about it, and I kind of was like, oh, I must have been spiked, and didn't really. Obviously, it was serious, but I didn't see it in that way at the time. And
Yeah.
now when I think about it, I feel really sad because I think about, well, what was it that I was spiked with? Why was it me? What could have happened? You know, who was I with? Because I have vague memories of it, but like I said, because all of this has kind of come out, it's made me think about it a lot more and a lot differently. Um, Not only that, but not just my experience, but with everything happening in my city, because I've lived here all my life, when I hear people that have been kind of spiked in the bar that I go to every weekend, it makes me really sad because I've never felt unsafe until most recently.
Oh,
And
that's really sad.
I worry so much as well because all of my friends are very sociable people and they go out all the time. And I bet everyone is feeling the same at the moment, but that's all that goes through my head now is, oh my God, like, are they going to be okay? Um, Especially people that kind of like, for example, my best friend is going to uni this year, like she starts in January. She's going to be going to a brand new place. She's not going to know anybody. She's not kind of made friendships yet. So she's going to be kind of more vulnerable in that way. And I kind of think that I know there's not a lot that can be done because the information isn't concrete in what it is that is being used to spike. But the only thing we can do is kind of get the information out there and protect ourselves and protect each other, because that's the only thing we can do, really. Also, like, your charity is great at providing information to clubs and bars and how to make people feel safer. And to be honest, I really don't think that they're doing the most that they can right now. Um, I recently did a Instagram post for this podcast, and I kind of asked people, "Oh, what do you think could be done to make you feel safer when you go out?" And almost everybody said everyone should be body searched.
Did they?
Yeah, and I
Right.
think, in my experience, whenever I go out, I always get my bag searched. So why do others not get their body searched? You can carry things in your pockets much easier as well. So why is that not being done? Um, but just little things like that, which I think they say, oh, it takes time up, but that time could actually save someone being spiked and going through that whole drastic, you know, traumatizing event just by searching somebody. Um, so yeah,
Lorna, do you know many people who've been spiked?
so I've recently had a lot of, obviously because they've seen the event, I've had a lot of people reach out to me. about it, and just in conversations as well, you know, just when I've been out and about chatting about it, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, my friend was spiked, this has happened, this has happened. And I was like, this is actually incredible. I mean, awful, like, as well, that this amount of people have been spiked that I know, and
Yeah,
I would have never have known unless this was happening and I was starting the discussion on it. You know, I've had people who are in their 40s, men that have been spiked, young girls. It's literally everybody. Like, it's not just one targeted gender or targeted at a specific person. It's literally happening to everybody for different reasons. You know, I've learned a lot myself by looking into this. You know, I was very naive in thinking, oh, it's only women. It's only women that have been spiked because it, you know, men are the enemy and blah blah blah. But actually, men are spiked as well, but for different reasons. You
yeah,
know,
they are.
they might be targeted because they're going to be robbed. Someone wants to steal their money.
Yeah,
You know, there's so many different reasons. And personally, I've learned so much just by looking into this and setting this up. And if I can learn a lot from it, then I think a lot of other people can. And the most important thing is for the people that need to keep us safe, which are the bars and clubs that need to kind of be educated and learn this information, because it worries me that a lot of these places just want the money and they don't want to keep people safe because they don't want people to know that this has happened in their venue, because they don't want to put people off. Because obviously, if it's been, you know, reported a lot that, oh, this place has had a lot of spiking reports, of course they're not going to want to admit that because they want people to still go and spend money there.
yeah,
But they need to prioritize the safety, because if people feel safe, then that's ultimately going to be what brings people there.
that's very true,
You know what I
actually.
mean? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know, and I really wanted to do this event as well because Norwich is really known for its music. I personally love all of the local bands as well. Um, but ultimately, I wanted it to be a place where people that have been afraid to go out recently can go there and not have any worry. They can just go there. They're going to know that it's a safe environment. They're going to know that there's going to be obviously the drink toppers that you're providing lovingly for us. um, they're going to have that as well to feel safe. You know, I've spoken to the venue and I said I want everybody searched there as well. And obviously, if anything's said, then I will be there to talk to about it as well. So it's like an
yeah.
open discussion as well. So people can openly talk to me or any of the members of staff about if they feel uncomfortable or anything. But I think it's really important to have these nights where people can just go out and not have to worry, because at the end of the day, we're still young as well. We
Yeah,
shouldn't have to be
why
thinking
should
about.
you have to stay home and be frightened to go
I
out? It's,
know. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. And, you know, I know a lot personally with my friends. Like I said, they're very sociable people. They're almost out every weekend, but now they feel like really insecure and really looking over their shoulder all the time. But that's not them, and that's not how they want to be, and it's not how they should be. Um, but if these venues provided more options for us to be able to protect ourselves, then maybe we would feel differently.
so would you feel, you know, if we've just designed an anti-drink spiking awareness course for venue management, security, bar staff, basically any frontline staff that work in the nighttime economy. So would you feel safer going to a venue if you knew that all of the management, the security and the staff were all drink spike aware? Would that
Oh,
make you feel safer?
100%, 100%. Yeah. And I also think that what was quite a shocking story that she won't mind me saying, but somebody that told me, was that when her friend experienced being spiked, she had a female bouncer actually kick her out of the place, thinking that she was just causing havoc and just lying. And so she's gone to somebody that she feels that is meant to be there to protect her, who is also a female, but she's not protecting her, and that's her job to do so, but she's not listening.
Wow.
So I feel like security staff definitely need to be educated on it and how to deal with it in the best way.
Yeah.
What else are we meant to do? They're obviously the first point of call that you would think to go
Well,
to.
that's someone in a position of trust.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
yeah.
And
Do
I
you know
thought
what?
that
This
was
isn't
really
the first
upsetting.
time I've heard that, Lorna, either, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine in Plymouth, her daughter, she's like 5'2". Her fiance is like 6'2", and he was drinking the girly porn star martini, and she was drinking the pint of lager. And so they've spiked what they thought was probably her drink.
Yeah.
She's a stunning looking little girl. And anyway, they'd only just gone out. They'd gone straight to the club. They hadn't been out and had any pre-drinks or anything. So he was on his first drink. He drank his drink. He went to the bathroom, was violently sick. He'd wet himself, was sick everywhere. The bouncers came in, thought that he was drunk, and they threw him out the club. And he was on his hands and knees, rolling around on the floor. When his girlfriend checked the whole of the nightclub, couldn't find him, came outside and found him on the floor rolling around. And that he was in such a state. And what she was worried about is that she suffers a little bit from some mental health issues herself. And now this has made her really panicky, because she thought that that dose of that drug might have killed her because she was so tiny.
Yeah. Well, it could do anything. And this is the problem as well, which is, with men as well, is that because, females have this, how can I word this right? So they want to protect females more because they, like me, I naively thought it was just females that were targeted. He was probably responded to in that way from the bouncers, because there's no way that they would have thought that anyone would have spiked a man.
Spiked him. Yeah.
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 But they need to be like I said, they need to be educated and informed that men can be spiked too.
Yeah.
And they have to consider this as an option and give him the help that he needs, because God knows what could have happened, and it would have been under their responsibility as well. And don't get me wrong, there's security bar staff out there that are amazing and would absolutely do everything to help somebody. It's not everybody, but I still think that a lot of places need this education and information for people to be safe and to actually want to go to those venues. It's helping everybody out. There's no negative connotations around it. It's going to help everybody.
I think years ago there probably was, because I've been campaigning for this since 2005. So years ago, when I went into pubs and clubs and said, people are getting drink spiked, they said, "Oh, don't say that happens here." And they were all like, but now I think people, I mean, do you know a bar called Cans and Cocktails?
No, I don't.
No, I think that's in Norwich. But they approached me right before this all blew up, into what it is now. And he came to me and said, "Oh, a few people have said to me, don't put anti-drink spiking devices into your bar, because people are going to think that that's a venue where people get spiked." And he said, and I thought that was ridiculous. What I thought is that I'm a forward-thinking man who's safeguarding people before the event happens. And I was like, oh my God, I wish everybody could think like you.
That's such a negative thing, like, view on it as well. And this is what I mean, like, I feel like if you were to offer these workshops to bars or clubs, I don't know how people would feel about it, because would they feel like you're undermining them, or they might think, oh well, I know everything, so why do I need this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not everyone's going to think the same way, but actually you're not undermining them, you're trying to help them, you're trying to help people feel safe. And
Yeah.
what negative is there around? Why wouldn't you want to grab that opportunity?
Yeah, anything to upskill yourself, especially, I've spoken to, in my local home city in Exeter. I went out the other evening and went round and spoke to a lot of security staff on the outside of the bars. And one of them said to me, oh, we're doing all our training in-house for drink spiking. And I said, oh, are you? And he said, yeah. And I said, so can you tell me what are the most common symptoms of someone who's had their drink spiked? And he said, well, I don't know. And I said, well, no.
Well, that's a good start, isn't it?
Yeah. I said, it might be good then if you did. He said, yeah, it might be good if I came on the course, actually.
Yeah.
So I think for us, we just want to get a common denominator so that people have got a policy and a procedure in place, so that if somebody comes to you and says, oh my God, I think my friend's had a drink spiked, or he's had his drink spiked, what do you do? What is your call to action? What do you do? Do you phone the police? Would you let them go off with someone if they said they were their friend? Or would you make sure you looked at their ID and took a photograph of them? There's simple little strategies that could be between life or death, being sexually assaulted or not. So it's,
The problem is as well, I think, is that because we don't know yet what exactly people are using to spike people, the symptoms can vary, and some can be a lot more severe than others, but it doesn't mean they're not as serious. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, it is hard to determine whether it's alcohol induced or if it is spiking, because it's the different levels, but you have to trust what people are saying, because I know with my experience, I was almost second guessing myself, because I knew that I'd only had one sip of my drink that night, but then I don't know why, but I kept second guessing myself, and I was like, well, did I have something else? No, I definitely had one sip of that drink. Well, no, I can't have, because I was really ill and I was passed out. Well, no, you must have had it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't have to feel guilty, and you shouldn't have to or second guess yourself, because if you know what happened, then you know what happened.
Lorna, that is such a brilliant statement, because when we've done a national survey at the start of this year, and over 97% of victims didn't report it to the police. And we were like, why? And, like you've just said, people felt ashamed, they felt guilty, and like this second guessing all the time, well, I must have drunk something, but know what you've drunk in a night, unless you're totally drunk, and then obviously then you wouldn't. But there's a really good point that you've just brought up there, is it with alcohol or with drugs? Now, I think a lot of people always seem to forget that alcohol is a drug, and that actually putting extra alcohol into someone's drink without their consent or permission is another form of drink spiking, which I feel like that really needs to be highlighted as well, because everybody, like my best friend, he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and I spoke to him about it last year, and he said, yeah, but Dawn, I always buy someone a double. And I said, do you? And he said, yeah. And I said, do you tell them? And he went, no. And I said, why would you do that? And he said, because I thought I was being kind, because I thought that they would have wanted a double.
I'd not even thought about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really hadn't.
So this is not even about people being horrible. This is about people being kind.
Thinking,
thinking, oh, let's do that. So I've worked in a few pubs in my home city, and one particular pub a couple of years ago, a girl came in. It was her grandfather's wake, and it was a beautiful day. So they all went out into the beer garden, and her uncle kept coming in and buying drinks, you know, for everyone. Anyway, when the young girl left, she went upstairs because she knew the landlord and landlady, and she was violently sick all over their flat, like over their settee, and you know, she was highly embarrassed.
Yeah.
And anyway, they questioned what she'd been drinking, and her uncle said, "Oh well, I've been buying her doubles." So she had 6 or 7 gin and tonics, but that means she'd actually had 14, and she was a tiny little girl, and she'd had a head injury. So that could have been fatal. And that was from her family, someone who loves her, doing that, thinking that, again, that they were being kind. So
again, you know what, again, it's money. Like, people thinking, oh, if I spend more money, then it's me being nicer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And venues like being so money orientated, oh, if we make more money, then we'll be a better venue, kind of thing. It's really sad that that's put before people's kind of, I know it's different, because obviously he must have not even thought about that at all, but it's something that needs to be thought about. You know, personally, I hadn't have even considered that before, but you're totally right. Again, if you're gonna give people more than they asked for, or more than they know about, they should know 100%.
Yeah,
You
they
need to be
should.
in control, and you need to understand what you're putting in your body as well.
So Lorna, tell us a little bit more about your event. What day is it? What time is it? Who's going to be there? How much is it to get in? And what you want from the end of the night?
Right, so the gig is at Voodoo Daddies in Norwich, and it's on the 13th of January, so after Christmas.
Nice.
It is going to be £10 a ticket, and you can buy them online on a link which is on the Facebook event. So it's Stamp Out Spiking Norwich gig, or you can buy tickets on the door on the night as well. We've got lovely bands that have agreed to play for free as well. So I want to say thank you to them for doing that. So far we've got Damp Matches, The Revere, Sunny Bones, History and Law, and Pink Lemonade. So it's really good of them to do that for free. Also, the venue, they've been so helpful with helping me sort everything out as well. Because this is the first thing I've ever organised, big thing I've ever organised. So they've been absolutely amazing in helping out with that. I've also got a photographer on board who's agreed to do that for free. So it's so nice to see everyone supporting it, because they genuinely care about this, which is so nice to see. But yeah, I'm really hoping that we can raise a lot of money for you and the charity, and it'll be given back to us in a way, won't it? Because, you know, we'll be able to feel safer and almost feel like not over it, but we can still go out and not worry as much, and we can feel like there is a way to protect ourselves as well. But like I said as well, just to kind of make people more aware of it in general, because when I was looking into this, when I first had this idea of doing it, there was actually nowhere at all in Norwich which was highlighting it.
Wow.
Unless it was the news. There was no venues or any events at all going on which was kind of trying to highlight it or educate people. And I was like, well, if no one's doing it, then I'm going to do it, because who else is going to? I'm not just going to sit around and wait. I'm going to do it, you know.
Oh, Lorna, I wish there was more people like you in this in this world.
Oh, thank you.
It's such a lovely thing that you're doing. And you know, I've been carrying on, but I've been banging this drum for so many years. And do you know what is lovely is that people have come back to me and gone, my God, you've been banging on about that for like nearly 20 years. I'm like, yeah, I know.
It must be a bit kind of like, although it's amazing for you, it must be also frustrating, because you're like, Well, I know this is what I've been saying, like, this is what I've wanted for so long,
I
and
know. Do you know
yeah,
what? It's been really emotional,
yeah,
because I've been saying it for so long, and I know that people haven't believed me.
mm,
And I feel like saying to them when they're like, oh yeah, they just had too much to drink. I've seen little girls in nightclub toilets when I've been giving out these stop tops, like 15, 18 years ago. And they burst into tears and just grabbed me and gone, oh my God, you believe me, you believe me.
yeah,
And it's been the most emotional roller coaster. But
mm,
now I think, thank goodness to social media,
oh yeah,
that everybody can now see. When we saw Millie Taplin, that little 18-year-old girl,
yeah,
the first time in a nightclub, and she was in that claw-like state, that
mhm,
video went viral, and like people were saying to me, oh, I don't want to see someone like that. I was like, how dare you? I'm so pleased that
yeah,
her mum was so strong, and that she was so strong to be
yeah.
able to come forward and say, look, this is me on my,
Mhm.
it was her first time ever in a nightclub.
Oh, that's so awful.
I
But that's
know.
so completely like cloud her view on going out now forever.
Yeah,
You know, how she's going to be traumatized. How is she meant to go out again now
I
after that?
know. Go out and have a good time,
Yeah.
and dance around, and yeah, it's just going to
One
be dreadful.
one of the
Like back,
interesting things that when I did my kind of questionnaire on Instagram, I asked people, "Oh, have you felt more unsafe since the reports have come out?" And there was a really upsetting one which said, even when I walk to the toilets in a pub on my own, I get really anxious and I'm really worried. And I was like, we can't even walk to the loo on our own anymore. Like
oh, that's dreadful.
this is how bad it's got. I know for women always been a bit, for me, I get a bit anxious if I'm out and I walk past a group of guys and I'm on my own, that's always something for women.
Yeah,
Now it's everybody. Everyone has that kind of worry now. Um,
yeah, they
and
do.
it's really sad. It's really
But
sad.
you know what? I forever telling people, please don't feel like that. Please don't feel like that.
Yeah.
And on Saturday night, I went to a sports bar, and I don't normally go in this bar. And I'd been speaking to the bouncers outside, and they know what I'm doing, obviously, because I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And a couple of them were talking to me about it, and some people walked by, and I know that they were sort of listening, and they went up the stairs. And do you know what? I went in, I got a Jack Daniels and Coke, and I was talking to some friends, and one of them come up and bumped into me, and the other one walked by and
Mm.
said something. So my attention was taken away from my drink in my hand.
Yeah.
And I know that is part of how people do this, because one person would
Exactly.
get your attention, the other one, you'd take your eye off
Yeah.
your drink. And I took my eye off my drink, and I answered him, and he walked off, and I went and put my drink down and didn't finish it. I was
Yeah.
like, no. And someone said to me, well, you should have put a stop top on. I was like, well, I should have, but I'd only just got it.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
and
it's funny as well that you say that, because I was out a few weeks ago and I had a pint in my hand and I was drinking it, and I felt a bit anxious that night anyway because of everything. I was drinking it and suddenly it just tasted different. I don't know if it's just me thinking it or me being
yeah,
overly anxious, but something told me I need to stop drinking this now.
right.
And I was just like, I'm not risking it. It tastes different. I'm putting this down. Probably
Yeah.
was me just being overly anxious, but there was no way I was risking that. And I didn't drink for the rest of the night. If I was
Didn't
going to order,
you?
if I was going to order anything now, I would order just a shot that I could take instantly
Yeah. Yeah.
rather than
Do you know
holding a
what?
drink in my hand.
I was speaking to some Exeter University students the other day, and they said, oh my God, now we got a stop top. We won't have to just swig them straight at the bar
Yeah.
and drink. We'll be able to enjoy it for a while. And I was like, what a sad state of affairs is
Yeah.
our world coming to, where you've got to go and knock your drink back
I know. Yeah.
because you're frightened.
Mm.
Well, so the future. Let's talk about the future. So we know that drink spiking's been happening. It's been going on for generations. It's a hugely underreported crime, which is now on the turn because it's not going to be an underreported crime. So the more bars, the more people that get behind a Stamp Out Spiking campaign, like yourself, Lorna Street, thank you so much. I think that we are going to change the mindsets of young people, and by you putting on this charity gig on the 13th of January, again, that's at Voodoo Daddies. So please, if you're out around in Norwich, please go to this event that Lorna Street's put on, because she's put all her time, effort and energy into this. And we just want to thank you as a charity that's fighting against this cause. We welcome people like kinds like yourself, Lorna, that are helping your local communities to stay aware of drink spiking issues, and to still go out and party and enjoy yourself and just look out for each other.
Yeah, that's the main thing, isn't it? It's just being able to kind of look out for each other.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
and not just people that you know.
No,
let's stop all being so selfish here.
Yeah.
You're not just going out looking after your best mate or your sister. If you see someone in a pub going up, touching someone's drink, and or if you feel something untoward, go and tell the bar staff. Go and tell the security. Just say, "Oh, I'm sure I just saw someone put something in their drink."
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would be a really good message to leave on today, is that don't just look out for yourself, look out for people in your local community, and just try and stay safe. And so that we don't want this to carry on. I don't want stop tops to be a part of the local culture in years to come. I want people to be able to go out, but they wouldn't need a stop top, because we would have put a massive dent in this, because this culture needs to be, it has to be changed.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Any last words from you, Lorna?
I would just say, please come down to the gig. Like I said, you know, it would mean so much to be able to raise a lot of money. It's so important. And just, you know, repeating what you said, just being able to have a safe environment for one night. You know, if you haven't been out in a while because you've been anxious, then come down. You know, it's going to be a really safe, protected night, and enjoy the great music as well. You know, I want it to be a positive night. I want it to be a night of creating change and raising money for your charity, and you know, it's going to be good. So
it sounds absolutely wicked. If I've got a chance to come up, I will.
Oh, that would be great. Let me know. Let me know.
If there's any way I can, I will. Don't worry.
That would be so good.
Lorna, thank you ever so much for today. And yeah, it's been great talking to you. And again, anyone who's listening to this podcast, 13th of January, Voodoo Daddies up in Norwich. It's Norwich charity gig for Stamp Out Spiking. Thank you very much.